think for my mental state, I just needed to win. I don't care about the money. I didn't care about the money this year. I didn't care about like what it would give me out like business-wise from sport. I just needed to win mentally. I didn't even need to go to the Olympia, even though that would happen. Like I just needed, I was telling it to Umar, like I don't even care. Like I just needed to know that I was meant to be here. This first Olympia, yeah, this one's dedicated to him and everything I learned from him. And I continue to learn from him, even when he's not here. And I hope that I can continue to make him proud and carry on my last name. Yeah. What is going on, guys? IFBB Pro Justin Badurina. I am here at Asylum Sports Clinic, going to be showing you my work with Dr. Umar Nisar, who's a chiropractor here. This has been a big staple in my physique, my recovery, my performance, you name it. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of cool things to show you.
What's up, guys? Dr. Umar Nisar here at Asylum Sports Clinic. Today we're going to be working with Justin Badurina. As you guys know, I've been working with Justin for a handful of years now. It's a privilege. It's an absolute honor. I love being involved in the bodybuilding community however I can be. Justin's had a couple of nagging issues over the years, some chronic issues, and we've just been maintaining that as well as we can to make sure that it shows on stage when it's time. So we got some cool stuff for you guys to see. A lot of you have already seen a lot of what we do, but hopefully it's a little bit more in depth. So Jay just usually comes in here. This is typically when he sits up here and just have a conversation with him. We kind of get into the depths of how the week was, how training's been, how his body's feeling, if the shoulder's okay. It's one of the biggest things that we focus on. These are the Normatec sleeves. By no means do these solve any actual issues. They're used a lot for people post-surgically to like decrease inflammation. For me, it's just a buffer in terms of having a conversation with him and for him to use something that just kind of helps him calm down right before we get into the meat and potatoes of most of the work that we're going to do.
All right, you rolling?
Rolling. All right, so right now we're working on Jay, specifically his lower back. As you can see, his legs are strapped in. Table just separated a little bit. This is going to be a primary focus on his lower back. It's called the flexion distraction table. We're just going to work on decompressing that lower spine before we go into the actual spinal manipulation and then eventually all the manual therapy that we do, focusing on the rest of his body. So typically this table is used for people who have like disc herniations or spinal nerve root related issues and they're having a lot of pain going down their legs or into their lower back. Jay thankfully doesn't have any of those. We just do this largely just to decompress his lower spine. It's very therapeutic and relaxing for him. It's one of the main reasons we actually do it at all. You okay, Jay?
Yeah.
Mentally?
Feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel a little bit more relaxed going into the show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I think I want to take that as a good thing because I feel like training's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
I got 5 weeks to go. There's a lot more stuff to go, but I feel like I'm in a really good place physique-wise after comparing.
Yeah.
You know, like being half a pound heavier now at 5 out than at Tampa and leaner.
Let's go face
You
on.
know what I mean? Like, so.
And if you drop the arm slightly forward, go ahead. Give me a deep breath in. And all the way out. And just relax on me. Good. So this right here is actually how Justin and I got to know each other. I asked him if I can adjust his ankles in the gym. And
Yes.
then that was the beginning of our friendship.
Yes. Literally. I'll never forget.
Good old Giant Fitness in
And
Voorhees.
their setup was different at the time, too.
It was. Heavy upstairs.
It was, that was, wow.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
6 years? Is that what it is?
Oh, God. It's 2018.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Towards the end of 2018. And then after I got my pro card, that's when we started to kind of wake up.
Yeah, I didn't even follow him. I saw him on my Explore page. I saw him in the corner of the gym. I just saw the hair. And I was like, yo, there's no way that's Jay Bads. And I like walked up to him so shy. I was like, yo, are you Jay? He was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, I'm a big fan. I saw him on my Explore page like a couple months before that, and then
It's
seeing.
just crazy because like I was nothing at the time.
So like one of the big things that I've said about Justin's body, and honestly a lot of like not a lot, but working on Walker also, their bodies feel so different from everybody else's, and I think that's a big genetic proportion of it that hasn't changed. And what I mean by that is that their tissue texture, like their muscle, like pliability, flexibility, just the tone and texture of it is just so different. Some people come in here and their bodies can't move at all. That's actually a lot of people on the local amateur level. Couldn't tell you if that's genetic, couldn't tell you if that's the enhancement side of things or whatever it may be. But his body, along with Nick's body, and maybe 2 or 3 other people I've ever worked on, and there's a lot of other people that I've worked on, they just feel so much softer and supple, and their joint mobility is phenomenal. Jay hasn't really had any real issues. The big thing we're focusing on here right now is he has a chronic labrum injury that we always talk about, and it's noticeable in his posing. He can't crank his arm back to get enough external rotation, especially when he hits his back double. That's why we were looking at it earlier. So that's something we spent a lot of time doing manual work on, passive stretching, active stretching. And this year we probably put more work into it than ever before, because at this point we're looking for perfection, and even the smallest detail matters. So more often than not, we're talking about what's wrong than what's right. But when it comes to his body, man, I feel like things are clicking this year. Justin started working with Nick Loth with training, and that's brought up his back immensely. But aside from that, we just manage anything. If there's a small tweak here and there, Jay will reach out and ask whether or not I think it's serious enough to be concerning. And if I don't, we just kind of go about things week to week the way that we have been for the last almost 6 years now. But the only thing that's really different this year is that he's a different animal, and he's better, and he's still as hungry as he was in the beginning.
I'm very grateful for Umar and the team that I have. I can ask Umar any questions, and we work together to try to figure it out, like he was saying, with these little things that pop up, and just the overarching big issue of what I have with the labrum. Like you said, having Nick help, and then the one constant this whole time has been Dan. I've been with my coach for 7.5 years, so he understands me, my body, my needs, physically, mentally. That's a big thing too. I am very, very grateful for him. And obviously, my fiance, Crystal, holding down the fort. I got a very good support system, which I think helps me do what I got to do, better. And like Umar said, just consistency over time and just getting better at what works over time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. A lot of these younger people rush it, but I've been doing this thing for so long, and it's what it takes. It's what it takes. My cardio is up a little bit, so I pretty much have 40 minutes, 6 days a week. 30 is fasted, and 10 is the stairs after workouts. Every workout.
Okay.
So I have fasted cardio 6 mornings a week, and then post-workout 5, because I only train 5. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much like 6 times a week for both.
Gotcha.
And then, my food went down on both my rest and training days. Added some other treats too.
Yeah.
Start to ramp up, man. 5 weeks is kind of crazy. It's weird to think about.
I think a part of it just doesn't feel real still.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's kind of weird going into a show. Like, this is the first show I'm going into where I can 100%, you can never say 100. I can 99.999% chance say I'm not going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the very first show.
I think in this
I'm not saying in the next, hey, I'm not even saying next year. Next year going to Olympia, we might be like, we could,
next year's conversation. This year, I think, is just going into it with like the least amount of stress and just enjoying the process. Like I said before, it's just gonna happen so quick, man.
Let's see where we get. I'm happy that you and everyone was able to be in Tampa.
That we got to what?
Be in Tampa.
Tampa was awesome, dude. Tampa was like finally watching like the fruits of your labor just coming to life, and I feel like that's just cool. Like that's why you saw the comment I left it on the post where it's like for Dan, it's like it's an athlete, but it's like almost like a son.
Yeah.
And watching you like be like proud on stage was just, I guess after watching you be so sad, watching you be happy is like emotional, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the crowd and you saw Kyle, like after the screaming and everything, everyone's just bawling their eyes out.
Yeah. I think like in that moment, that like before they announced my name was the very first time where I was like, I think they're gonna announce my name. You know what I mean? I've never had that confidence before, even with being close and placing second twice.
Yeah.
It's like I never had confidence in that moment of like I'm gonna be called as the winner, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
And the one time that I had some confidence, I felt like
Get on your low back. No, I agree with you. It's definitely one of those things that like you're not gonna believe it until it happens. Which is crazy because it was a matter of time.
yeah. I mean, it was just lowered. We've been kind of doing a carb cycle throughout the whole, like every prep always changes, right? I can tell you my food is the highest it's ever been in any prep, and I didn't have any like 0 days. I think my lowest day, maybe going to Tampa, was like 150 carbs. Um, you know, when you've been doing this for so long and you work your body to a certain point and you're so consistent, disciplined, and dedicated, 150 carbs for me might be zero for someone else. You know, my body just knows how to use it and rip through it. Um, right now, it's like on the low to moderate end. You know, on rest days, it's like a little bit lower than on training days. But that's something my coach has been doing since the last prep and like before Tampa and into this one, just playing with the rest day and training day and the cardio. You know.
You doing a lot of cardio?
Um, I have cardio. I was doing more. So me and Umar were talking. Um, I was doing more cardio going into Tampa. So five. So I'm 5 weeks out from Olympia today, right? When I was 5 weeks out of Tampa, which was I believe like 10 weeks ago or so now. Um, yeah, because Tampa was 5 weeks ago, and then 5 weeks before that, so 10 weeks. When I was 5 weeks out from Tampa, I was doing more cardio than I'm doing now. Now, obviously, I had more body fat to lose. Like right now, I don't have like I'm at two different points 5 weeks out. Like I've already peaked and been through like a harsh part of contest prep. Like with where I am right now versus 10 weeks ago, 5 weeks out. It's a big difference. But um, you know, cardio was higher then. I think food was a little bit lower. Um, my food's not awfully low now. Um, training is a bit tougher now than it was 5 weeks out from Tampa just because more food and stuff like that. But a crazy interesting stat is I'm heavier now than 5 weeks out of Tampa, and I'm leaner, obviously. So it's like that's kind of badass, you know, to know that you know I weigh a smidge more, like half a pound more 5 weeks out now than I did from Tampa, and I'm tighter now, which in theory means like I would look bigger, have more fullness and whatnot. So a bunch of different variables, um, which I believe are making me, you know, stand out and look and be my best. Yeah, they're a little sore,
Yeah.
just because I've been using them again with stuff going up, and today stuff goes back in and up, and
Is that tender?
a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Okay.
That was Thursday night,
Okay.
but no issues for me. Like
No, not bad. Pressure's okay.
yeah.
And
Oh, you know, I was really sore the other day.
what's that?
Like my freaking like hip flexors and my the outside of my hip. That was the first day you did some different, like you
Oh, after I worked on you?
Yes.
Yeah, you're talking right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, kind of expected.
Sheesh.
Were you okay afterwards?
Yeah, for sure. And it's fine now. I was just, like I was saying, I wasn't used to it.
Surprised.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. It was sore for like a day or so.
So, yeah, that's about right.
How about you, Justin? Are you like maybe thinking about celebrating somehow, some way after the O, or
So, yeah, I mean, after the O, after the O, I'm doing a show the next weekend. So, I'm doing the Hurricane Pro, which is the week after Olympia.
okay?
That's in Florida. Because if I win that, my goal is to win that. So I'll say when I win that show, that'll qualify me.
Raise this up as I'm passing over.
Okay.
All right, ready? Go ahead, start raising. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That'll qualify me for next year's Olympia.
So,
So after that, I'll be able to shut down. But I might apply for the Arnold, which means I'd be starting prep in like December. So it might only be a month and a half of food and chilling a little bit.
so. Go ahead. Down.
I like to set something up to do back here with everyone.
Justin, in your tough time last year, like what kept you driven and focused?
Oof. It's a great question. Um, I wish there was like a secret. I think that what kept me driven in tough times and what always keeps me going is I was raised just to work. You know, I know that kind of sounds maybe silly and simple, but I was raised to go hard in the rain and the shine, through the trials and tribulations, no matter how tough it gets. I don't know any other thing but to work. And I don't mean that in a super confident way either, because I lack a lot of self confidence. But one thing I'm sure about is my ability to work hard and my work ethic. And I knew that in those tough times, like the only thing I knew what to do was to work. Going into fit world with what happened with the food poisoning there, and then the whole flight mishap coming home, and thank you, brother. Um, like having to just keep my head down while starting a new job, while my body was fighting to get ready for Charlotte, which was 3 weeks later, and it took so much out of me. And then some other life things happen and pop up, and I can say that I think I can say that this prep from the start to finish at Tampa was one of the smoother preps I've had. Things popped up for sure, and a lot of mental stressors popped up, but I think I was able to stay pretty level and zoned. And like the feedback from my peers is I mentally handled it a bit better than I have in the past. Like Umar can chime in here, because Umar's not only my chiro, but he's a good buddy of mine. So he sees me, and he's been with me for prep since turning pro. He knows my personality, and I think he can agree. And if not, he's allowed to give his opinion 100%. Same as my fiance and coach and other friends. Like this was the best. I was able to stay pretty grounded for the longest time in a prep, I think. I think that helped me as well. It's just the ability to kind of stay level and just continue to work, and push through all the tough times, and just tell yourself it'll be good soon. You just gotta keep working hard.
So what do you expect in the next few weeks?
Next 3 weeks.
Next few weeks, yeah.
Next few weeks, you said.
Yeah, going into the like, do you expect anything different or anything you're anxious about, or?
So I can tell you that literally up until Olympia is the some of the busiest weeks I've ever had in my life. It just kind of tends to happen that way when you have like real life obligations, because I'm excited, I think what's good is I feel as though I'm managing everything pretty well, and I'll still have 5 weeks to go, and we'll feel a lot shittier as it goes. But I got a good buddy coming home that I need to see for for his party. I got my full time job still. I got my posing clients. I got my online clients. I have taking care of the dogs. My fiance. I have my. I actually go to Pittsburgh, not this upcoming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, to go film with the Manions. I got invited to go up for Road to the Olympia uh, series. So they film an interview with me. They film me working out there. It's like a 3 hour thing. It's not this upcoming Wednesday, the following Wednesday, and they don't invite everyone just because they don't have the time to invite everyone. So winning Tampa set me up for that, which is awesome. There's a gym's grand opening that I'll be appearing at towards the end of this month. Couple appointments for the dogs. There's a lot. I feel like on top of prep, on top of training, on top of real life, it's a lot to look forward to. Just a lot, That's life doesn't stop though. Like it really, like if you want to be the best, like I'm not where I want to be in the sport financially, you name it, like in a bunch of parts of my life, and we're in that grind time. Like what's worth having doesn't come easy, so it requires this, and making time to prioritize recovery with Umar, fiance time, seeing your family, your own sanity and mental time.
Yeah, outside of this, we don't hang out at all. That just goes to show, like people don't realize, like
It kind of if you think about that in a very because of how close we are in like a personal way, it sucks. However,
we
we're
kind of accepted it.
because this guy is working his ass off to grow this brand and business and to cater to all his clients, and he does a phenomenal job. I'm trying to be the best in the world and manage everything I have. We work full time and then some, and shout out to Nick behind the camera. Like I know how hard this guy fucking works too, and it's like scheduling this for everyone to watch is tough.
Yeah.
With all of our you know what I mean, and that's it just is what it is. And we're all at the point where if Umar's like, yo, I can't do it now, Nick's like, oh, it's all good, can you do it this time? And I'm like, nah, I can't do it that time, sorry, it's all good, all right, when can we do it? Because we all understand that's just life. We're grinding, we're working our asses off to make something for our families, for ourselves.
It comes at a cost. Like it definitely takes a toll.
It does.
Like
my arms have been feeling very sore.
Yeah.
Maybe from the increased arm volume. I mean, I feel like
you've been trying to keep them full because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like they look a little bit fuller.
I'd hope so.
Maybe my biceps at least. I don't know my triceps. They might be lost cause.
But there's this video of I remember watching this reel. It was on the For You page. There's a video of bumps that I think somebody was obviously somebody put a snippet together of all his life from before. And I think it was a YouTube video he did a while back. And he's crying to the camera. He's you don't realize you're gonna give up friendships. You're gonna give up so much. Yeah. And it works on both ends, right? Yeah, we know that you I know you can't do this. And there's been times where even I'm just man, does the friendship make it? Because we don't see each other outside of here. Yeah. And it's strictly this. Last year was rough. On a lot of ends.
Yeah.
It took a toll on I'd say everybody that was involved.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it played out, but then emotionally everyone was just
drains.
Yeah. We didn't talk, I'd say almost we didn't see each other for 2 weeks after the show.
Yeah.
And we didn't say much. And even the last 4 weeks going into the prep, kind of going back to what he said earlier, this year's different. This year was entirely different. We walked into Tampa talking the entire time. I don't want to say hopes up super high or anything like that, but
it's still business.
Yeah.
It's not all, we're not, it was not sunshines and rainbows. There was a lot of confidence issues last minute. There was a lot, the typical,
But last year we didn't talk.
Yeah.
Last 4 weeks of the prep last year, him and I didn't talk. We were in here twice a week, this, with the lights off, maybe 1 or 2 lights up front, and we didn't talk. Not there was, hey, how you doing? Give a hug, and that was the extent of our conversations. And it got to the point to where I was dude, I'm fed up. Not because I was fed up with him or anything, just the stress of all of it. You're just this is a lot.
There's a lot on the line, and there was a lot this year, but it
was different.
Yeah, it was different.
When you were more at peace.
I don't know. It's a great question.
I think the improvements spoke for themselves, right? Like you looked at the pictures and then even like how he came out on stage and everyone's like, holy shit, right? Whereas like last year, given everything that happened and how it turned out, all the stress, and then it just ended up being this big, like, massive, excuse my language, but shit show, right? And then this year, it's like you check off every box to make sure nothing goes wrong. And I think the mental maturity in your life is what also, like, was a big portion of that. Like, you no longer stress the way that you did before. I'm sure the stresses are still the same, if not worse in their own way, but you handled it better. You weren't snappy. I feel like you were super respectful. Not that you never were before, but people know as you get closer to prep, it's super easy to get irritated, man. Like, and that you can say and do things and this and that.
But I think the people that know Justin know that about his prep at the end. Because even I know that. Dan and I used to always talk about that too. He's like, oh, he's a prep man.
But so many people don't. You know what I mean? Like, so many people don't know that. And, like, that's a hard part about, like, being at his level.
It stings because, like, until you get to this level, you don't know how literally that individual feels. And I know that no one asked for a certain nippiness or snappiness, but it's also like, I didn't ask for you to come confront me at the gym or make a smart comment. Or the amount of times where I've had people make comments to me. I remember a situation, I'm not going to name anyone, but, you know, at a gym where I was like 2 weeks out and someone wanted to come up to me who, you know, was into lifting and stuff like that, and like watched my set and was like, yeah, I can lift way more than you here. And I'm like, you're also not like 5% body fat right now, 2 weeks out from a show, in the leanest state of your life. You know, like what type of stupid comment is that? And I don't think the person was really like joking either, you know, because you could tell when someone's joking and messing around.
Yeah.
And they didn't come back and say, I'm just messing. I'm like, so sometimes people, I even noticed it last night, like when I was training, like there was a guy who like would not stop staring at me, and then he like came really close to me during my sets, and it was really awkward. And I just remember thinking, like, if this guy says something to me, like, I'm not gonna snap, but I'm also the type of person that can be kind of smart. So like I would throw a smart comment back, because it's just like when you get closer and your patience is thin, sometimes you don't have like time for things that aren't common sense, if that makes sense. I can't describe it. So you do tend to get nippy. It's part of the sport. It definitely is. I just think for whatever reason I was able to handle that portion a little bit better, and maybe it's not that I handled it better in total, but maybe I handled it better around my loved ones this year and around the people that mattered the most. And one thing I've always done in the past, and Umar can say this, and Dan and Crystal, no matter how nippy I can get or dark I can get, I always am trying to remind these folks how grateful I am. It takes a village, and I got a fucking army. These guys, I would not be here without the group that supports me and does what they do. And I always will say that, even if I'm depressed or dark or anxious or angry or nippy, like I always think I do a good job reminding these folks how grateful I am for what they do. So I wouldn't be here without them. There's no way. You know, I'm with the same coach since after my first show. Like, sure, because of my work ethic, I probably would have gotten somewhere in my career, but I can't think like that because that didn't go that way. I've been with the same guy for 7.5 years. 7.5 years, he's invested in me and put everything he has into me. Like, I'm forever in debt. I'm forever grateful.
You good?
Yeah. Same as Umar, you know, making the time to work with me after turning pro. So 2019 till now, 5 years. 5 freaking years. You know, I got an army.
You got a lot of loved ones.
Yes.
I think you control your environment better. That's what it comes down to. I think that's such a big part of it, right? It's like in the beginning, it's like you have control of 90% of the things. Now I'd say like you have control of way more.
There's still things.
Yeah, but that's life. You know what I mean? You're never gonna have full control.
You're never gonna be. It's never gonna be perfect. And even like you think about like bumps that like he is courting his daughter now. Like sometimes things, even though he's Mr. Olympia and he needs to be 100% on, there's sometimes things where he's gonna lose a little bit of sleep one night because of that, or you know what I'm saying? Like it happens.
Feel okay?
It feels good. You know who just actually, speaking of Hani a little bit ago, you know what documentary you need to listen to, or what podcast you need to listen to? Me and Crystal listened to it when we were just like getting some kitchen work done. He had Sid Gillen on with Sid Gillen's coach.
Oh, really?
The figure Olympic going for her eighth one. Her mindset is crazy. Like she's like, I'm a prep. She's like, I'm the no queen. I'll say no to anyone. I don't care. You don't disrupt my peace of messing with what I got to do. Nope, nope, nope. Scheduled out. As soon as that 11:59 hits, once 12 hits, I'm done with whatever I've done. Moving to the next thing. Like her mindset is crazy. Now, I mean, like, listen, when you're at that level, you're not working a full time, and you could literally
Say no to whatever.
and you could, yeah, like you could plan that stuff. And I'm not gonna say like I can't get better at that myself, but like working your way up to that point, you have certain luxuries that help you stay at that point at that level. You know, getting there is always tougher. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Let me have you shrug your shoulder. Bring it up. And down. And up. And down.
When you were on stage and you heard your name called out in Tampa when you won, what was your first thoughts or your first feelings?
Relief. Relief that I might not be able to talk right now.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Please.
It's just, what do
It's
you,
important. It's good. It's a great question, so you got to answer it.
relief that I talked to a few close people this year about how I think for my mental state, I just needed to win. I don't care about the money. I didn't care about the money this year. I didn't care about like what it would give me out like business wise from sport. I just needed to win mentally. I didn't even need to go to the Olympia, even though that would happen. Like I was telling it to Umar, like I don't even care. Like I just needed to know that I was meant to be here and to be doing this. And I think that winning Tampa against 5 Olympians, the guy who placed second was 13th last year. So like, does that mean like I could have been 13th last year, or could I be 13th now this year? I mean, I'm better now than last year, but like, I think relief for my family, for my friends, for my coach, for my fiance, for like relief that like all of our hard work paid off. 'Cause it's not just me that's working hard. He's killing himself right now working on me. Dan with the time from a program, my fiance for everything she does, you know, family, like sacrifice they make. So more so relief that we were able to do it, and then tears of joy, excitement, you know, like holy fuck, you know, a couple of those. It's a cool feeling. I'll never forget it. Never fucking forget it.
All right, so Justin, how long have you known Pat and been involved with Aries, and how has that played a role this year and the past couple of years?
Yeah, wow. So I've known Pat a very long time actually. I met him at one of the Atsilis gyms. Officially, even though I think we knew each other. It was before I got my pro card. I remember when I got my pro card, he's actually the first person who invited me to like my first ever like kind of like appearance at one of his anniversary parties for Aries, and he invited me again the next year, and we stayed, you know, close and friendly and whatnot. And I believe he presented an idea to me. I forget when it was, maybe mid 2021, about or the end of 2020. I forget when, about opening up a store in Mount Laurel. I think it was the end of 2021 or mid 2021 to open the end of 2021. Yeah, that's what happened. And I started working as the manager of that location, and you know, kind of was like an Aries athlete, indoctrined in just because of me working there, you know, so being a part of the team there. And Pat has always been super, super good, and you know, treated me well. Does a lot for the local community. It does a lot for the bodybuilding community, you know, as a whole. I know you invest a lot of time, effort, money. You know, something that people need to realize is like some of a lot of what Pat does isn't the cheapest. And providing and putting out the money with no potential ROI can be stressful, especially in today's day and age of being a business owner in this country. So Pat does a lot for the community. He's done a lot for me. Very grateful, and he's played an impact in this prep as well, just being more so a friend because I don't work the store anymore, just an athlete there. I'm having some conversations about more business stuff and promoting stuff. He's been awesome.
You okay?
Yeah. My dad, I lost him too early before he didn't get to see me turn pro. What's funny is, passed away a couple months before starting prep for Universe, and he told me, you got to do that show again because you placed 4th last year. You can get it this year. And I did. And it's tough to go through life as a 22-year-old turning 23, without your dad. I'm grateful that I had him for the years I did, but and I'm very blessed for the men that I have in my life who will never replace my father, but will help guide me like he would have, and they're very good role models for me, and I can learn from them. But not having your dad there literally is rough, and it's a good point. Like, if I had to dedicate this to someone, to be him, because he's the only one who can't literally enjoy it with us here, and he hasn't been able to because, selfishly, he's had a better seat than we have. He has the best seat in the house watching from above. But I wish, selfishly speaking for myself, that he was here to witness it in person and give hugs after and be a part of everything that he's missed, from his passing. And this first Olympia, this one's dedicated to him and everything I learned from him, and I continue to learn from him even when he's not here. And I hope that I can continue to make him proud and carry on my last name. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So this concludes, the first episode of Road to Olympia series. It's gonna be a short one, a short series because of just the timing of things and the availability of all of us. Obviously, we've talked a lot in this session about how busy we are and schedulings and allotting things, right? So we want to get out a training video, so you can expect a training video coming up, as well as the potential to have Nick and Pat, the owner of Aries, coming out to the Olympia to film some content there. Besides following the Aries YouTube and Instagram, follow me at Justin Badurina. You can follow my Instagram, and I'll be keeping up with my prep for the remaining 5 weeks. When this video is posted, it might be closer to 4 weeks out, or whatever it is at the time. But follow, my journey as I post things pretty frequently on what's going on. I normally don't do that in prep, but because the cat's out of the bag that I'm doing at Olympia, I might as well show it. Usually when I do preps, I don't announce what show I'm doing, and I just show up during peak week, and people are like, whoa, Justin's competing. Can't really do that for the Olympia because they have a list out of everyone who's doing it. So follow this journey. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm really grateful to have you guys watching, and hopefully, we talked on some things today that could help you guys positively, and impact you in a positive way. So thank you guys so much for your time. Check out all of our IGs. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. See you guys soon.